I'm Anna. This is Carla. Let's see. So, I wanted to just start off expressing gratitude. Oh, I'm wearing upside down. Gratitude. Deep feeling of gratitude for our grandmother. And we'll stand here for this, she's 6 grandchildren, so it's Carla, Lauren, Jesse, me, Peter, and Julia. So I'm putting this necklace on because our grandmother really enjoyed wearing jewelry, and especially if anyone ever gave her something, she would always make sure to wear it when the person visited, or you could tell it was special to her, even if it was something like, so my daughter gave me this past week, and this is my way of dressing like Mary to wear this today. So I just want to express our gratitude for our grandmother, also for the connection that she provided for us to Tucson and to the desert in this part of the country none of us live in, her community. So just a couple things about my grandma. A lot of people know, so if you ever called her on the phone, she has like kind of urgency in the way she would answer the phone. Hello? and then hey grandma, it's Anna. Anna! Like that. So if it was ever, she'd just say your name in a way that made you feel very expected. She was excited to talk to you and appreciated, and it was special. Made you feel special. She always asked about my family. Once I had my daughter, then she always asked about Olive, and I think that's true for anyone. And if she knew anyone was in your life, that she'd ask about them too. She also kept a calendar, like a monthly calendar with the squares on it, and kept a journal, like she diaried in it for I don't know how many, for a long time, and that was a special way. I'm not a journaler myself, but she was, and even if it was just Anna arrived today for a visit, or meeting this meeting today. She kept a record, and that was really important to her. And she did that for years and years and years. I had lots and lots of calendars kept like that. So I cannot stand here and speak for the grandchildren without mentioning her cookies, which she loved to bake, which tasted great, and she just. I think many of you know that she loved baking them, and she was really good at it. And we always, as children, look forward to coming to Tucson, and cookies was pretty much the first thing we looked for when we got here. So I just said about Tucson, we have a lot of gratitude for being connected to this place, and for Mary for giving us an opportunity to be connected to such a special place, and not just one time to visit, but really for our generation coming back here over and over again, and having just kind of think of Finger Rock as like a compass point, a little reference. First thing we do when we get here is just look for it, from even the car from the airport or whatever, because it's just in that direction of her house coming from the airport, and sometimes I would actually look for it just to know where I was in the city. So it's, and then also Tucson being a reference point when we're not here. We wouldn't have known really about desert stuff. It feels different in the desert. I know I don't have to tell you that, but it really feels different. There's a different feeling here, and there's a chance. So, and so for us, this is all a farewell to our grandmother, and also a farewell to regular visits, at least to this part of the country. And just wanted to acknowledge that. It's a special place, and gave us a chance to have another view. So it also gave us a chance to bring our children, her great grandchildren here, on vacations and, as tourists. So I just want to read something. I just happened at the moment to be reading the new book by Atul Gawande called Being Mortal. I don't know if anyone's aware. And there's a quick quote from it where he says, "We all seek a cause beyond ourselves. In fact, it's an intrinsic human need. The cause could be large, country, principle, family, or small, taking care of a pet, building project. The important thing is that in ascribing value to this cause and seeing it as worth making sacrifices for, we give our lives meaning." And I just chose that quote to express the gratitude that we feel to the community that Mary had at giving her life purpose. I know my dad mentioned it before, and so we second that. Lastly, I wanted to recognize the caregiving, the very wonderful caregiving that she received formally and informally. Formally and informally over the years, and so kind of working backwards, the hospice care. What a gift is hospice. So I feel Andy and Arthur arranged it to happen. Carol and the rest of, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name of the care coordinators, delivered at her in hospice, and hospice made it possible for her to stay at home in her very last days. Care coordinators make it possible for her to stay in her home. Clocking backwards, can't remember my grandmother without remembering Alma Berkowitz. And Alma and my grandmother had a very special, close relationship. It moved from informality into formality over the years. She took care of her and in a progressive way, meeting Mary's needs as time went on. And Alma brought her whole self to that caretaking in a way that was just very inspiring. And she didn't check her personality at the door, she just engaged, and they engaged together, and they would get into it, they would argue, and then they really got along, and they were family. So that we remember Alma today also. And also then my Uncle Andy, my dad Arthur have given her care and just also progressed, as her needs progressed, for giving her the care that she needed over the years, and very, just with a devotion that, again, was inspiring to watch. So I just want to say that. Again, so the theme of what I just want to say is we have a lot of gratitude for Mary, so much gratitude for this place, her community, her caregivers, and for the light and engaging soul that she was.
Sugar Lump is what she called us, her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, Andy and Arthur too. Sugar Lump, she'd say, matter of fact, like you were just the right amount of sweet. Oatmeal lace and chocolate chip, ginger snap dough you'd roll up in balls and shake with sugar in the brown paper bag. Dip your fingers in water and press down on the tin so that the cookies would spread. Mary taught us how to bake, and no matter how many cookies we ate, it seemed like those tins on the counter would never be empty. Mary used to close her eyes and let me pluck at her eyelids. Her skin didn't bounce back the way mine did, but would crinkle up into little clusters and then slowly melt back into place. She would just sit there with her hands folded in her lap, her eyes closed, and smiled. At night, she and Alan used to bring the radio to bed with them so they could listen to the news and their talk shows. And I think this was pre-Amy Goodman, actually. It might have not even been NPR. I think it was actually something totally different, but I don't know what it was. I remember after my parents separated how they let me climb into bed with them, and how happy I'd be to lay there between them with the radio, even though I had no idea what anyone was talking about. We played King of the Mountain on that same bed, Jesse and Loring and me, and yes, maybe some of my younger siblings as well, throwing each other off onto the hard floor and jumping back up again, ready to conquer the throne on Mary and Alan's bed. 2451 North Santa Rita, a homestead in the desert, a bungalow that has always felt like part of the land. The mesquite tree in the front yard that Mary and Alan planted in 1969 when they first moved to the house, the hummingbird feeder outside the window which was filled with red-dyed sugar water, the Mexican rugs and pottery, the farm animals laid out on a white blanket under the Christmas tree. Who needed the nativity? The dining room picnic table Alan built, painted the china red color Mary chose, the backyard where we, her grandchildren, tumbled on the once-green lawn, and the patio where her great-granddaughters, Olive and Nadia, put on a circus show. I will always see our grandmother as a pioneer in the desert, a woman who never abandoned ship. Tucson was her home, the house, our family homestead, and no one could get her to leave. Of course, it wasn't just about her house, but the community of which she was a part and which supported her, the friendship she maintained and enjoyed, her sustained involvement in politics, even as she outlived many of her comrades and friends. And yet, for Mary, activism was just something you did. If things are wrong in the world, you go out and try to make them right. You took your morning walk, you baked cookies, you held meetings, gathered signatures, you went to the protest. 6 years ago, I came out to Tucson with my husband and children to celebrate Mary's 97th birthday. She played Uno with my sons, but refused to play the card game we politely called I Doubt It, because it encouraged people to lie. On her birthday, we drove to the top of Mount Lemmon and went to the Iron Horse, where Mary enjoyed a huge piece of Dutch apple pie. A man who had just taken a family photo of us asked Mary what her secret was for longevity, and Mary replied, between bites of pie, luck, mainly. But I think it was more than that. I think it was her commitment. Political, yes, but also to herself, to living life with dignity and with grace. I witnessed my 100-year-old grandmother rising in the morning, washing, dressing herself in colorful prints and turquoise jewelry, leaning over and wedging her feet into her shoes. She made her bed, or directed us to make it, and took her daily constitutional. It was a lot of effort, but Mary took her time, and from what I saw, was patient with herself. I can't rush, she told me over the phone. I'm saving my life. Once, accompanying her on her walk around the block, she asked me if I knew the reason why she went this way in the mornings, to the left out her front door. It's because I like to see the sun hitting the mountains, she said. When we left Mary, on that visit 6 years ago, as we got into the car in the driveway, I wondered, as I know we all have at one point or another, if I had ever seen Mary again. I felt as if we were abandoning her. And yet, when I looked up, holding back my tears, I saw Mary standing there in front of her house, in her dungaree dress, holding her cane and straightening her shoulders, as solid as the brick wall behind her. Thanks.